what's up, everybody? We're live. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Ask Snaps. We already got Eric in the house. How's it going, Eric? We'll have some people popping on here shortly. We're going to get into it quickly. If you're joining us on the replay, thanks for watching. Make sure you head over to our YouTube channel and or our Facebook page and subscribe and like in those different places. That way you get notifications when we have new trainings and free workshops and all sorts of things coming out for Snaps. What's up, Erica, Omar, Carlos? See y'all hopping on here. I know there's a lot of excitement for today's workshop. And actually, there's so much. We're actually going to break this out over kind of like a mini series because my friend Ryan is joining us here today. Ryan, say what's up to the people.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Ryan's awesome. Ryan is an agency owner, digital marketer, professional, has been for a long time, worked with a lot of small businesses, local businesses. I won't steal thunder. I'll let him kind of share a little bit of his story. A lot of you know Ryan if you're in kind of one of the training groups that Snaps was birthed out of. But if you're coming to us from YouTube or Facebook or somewhere else, you might not know Ryan yet, but you're going to get to know him. The topic of today's workshop and Q&A was really all about how to go out as an agency owner or a digital marketer, maybe even someone who's newer to this business model, or maybe you've been around for a long time doing other services, SEO, paid ads, whatever. But how do you go and find clients that might need a new website? Now, building websites for businesses is not any sort of new business. People have been doing this for decades and decades now, right? But the tools, especially the tools that we've given you with Snaps, give you really kind of a leg up on the competition in terms of what typically is required going into a brand new web build. I know this from my past life in the agency world and selling, multiple 5-figure and sometimes even 6-figure website and campaign type deals, down to the mom and pop who maybe can't even, script together $500-600 to put together a website. But I think everyone on this stream can agree that, in the coming years, people are not going to be more reliant on the internet. They're probably not going to be less reliant on the internet. They're probably going to be more reliant on the internet. I mean, our phones, everything is now a screen. Everything's connected. Even the Google Home, Alexa, whatever is now starting to get tied in to the internet. So having a professional like Ryan or myself, or those of you on the stream who are also agency owners, this is a huge skill. The skill to be able to go out, find a customer that might need something, helps you get your foot in the door. And maybe that something is a better website. And there's a lot of things that could make a website better. We'll get into some of that. And then be able to get some quick cash from that client too. Because a lot of times you get a client who's going to spend some money with you and it makes it a whole lot easier than for you to start working with them with your other services, which might be the core services that you offer, whether that's lead generation or SEO or paid ads, social media management, something else. So we'll get into that. But if you've got real quick, just on format for today, we're going to ask Ryan some questions. I want Ryan to share his story that again literally just came over today and was like, "Oh, dude, I just landed 2 new website builds." I was like, "Wait, tell me about that," because I'm actually doing a training on that later today. Can you actually come on and tell that story? So we'll get into that. I'll have Ryan share his story. We'll open it up for Q&A. And then we're actually going to add this to a part 2 because I have a whole lot more lined up for you guys that I want to share with you next week. Some swipe files, how to price this all out. How do you actually go through the process? So hopefully today we'll have a little bit of time for some Q&A, some storytelling, some sales training. And then I can go a little bit into Snaps too and demo a little bit of how some of this might work. And then part 2 will be next week. So Ryan, maybe if you don't mind, if you could share kind of a little bit about what you shared with me today. You said, so you found, you just landed 2 website clients. Did you land both of them today?
So one guy owns 2 different companies.
Yep.
So though I'm going to do both of those ultimately with him. One of the sites is going to be very generic, like nothing. So I'm going to kind of hook it up where I'll overprice the first one to kind of make up for the second one. So then it's like a homey deal, like, hey, buy one, get one free type thing. Because it's going to cost me next to nothing with, my developers and stuff. But the first one was a referral, just making sure. And that one was yesterday. I actually had 2 referrals yesterday and one the day before. And that's just connecting with people and talking with people about what you do and just being a good human, right? And just
Sure.
like always, I mean, my thing for especially for 2021 and getting out 2020 and everything starting to open up is just giving out information for free as much as you can and helping people. And then that's going to come full circle to be able to have people refer. So one is he's an artist and he paints and he wants to be able to like show his stuff online. Doesn't have a website and he has an Instagram, knows nothing about it, but great art, right? But he doesn't have anywhere to show it, doesn't know what to do. And this will be my first time building a website for an artist and like displaying that instead of selling it like an e-com type thing. But ultimately, that was a referral from his nephew that I was just cool with. I've met him through different like networking groups online, and him and I just became pretty close. And he referred him to me, so that was the first one. My thing with that is just always be cool with people. Always make sure that you're there with. Not trying to sell them, just get to learn people, build that rapport. Even if you're in the back of your mind, you're trying to sell them, at some point, there is going to be that way of, hey, I'm not over pushing to, and I don't push website deals, but I'm starting to realize that it's easy money. It's quick money because I have a developer that's going to push it out real quick and he's happy. I'm happy. Client's happy. And he does great work. So that was the one yesterday.
And this is your same developer, I think, that builds all of like your lead gen assets on Snaps, right?
He builds all my lead gen assets. He's great in WordPress as well. But ultimately, what I'm doing with all my lead gen assets is obviously Snaps is hosting them, but I'm pushing people in the one today that I sold. I literally got done at the gym and the guy wrote me back. This was from last night. I was in it's a dad's group. If you guys are not like utilizing your Facebook groups, get in your Facebook groups. Literally, doesn't matter where you're at. This guy's in Florida, the one I landed today, and I saw a question or a statement in one of the Facebook groups last night. It's a dad's group, and what the statement was is, hey, leave your small business, leave your business information down below, what you do, put your website, whatever, and that was it. So I did, and I got a message within 5 minutes. Hey, I own two businesses. Looks like you can help me with what I'm needing. Let's chat. And I was like, all right, let's chat. What's your number? Here's my number. He ended up not getting back to me last night, but he got back to me today while I was at the gym. And I was like, hey, give me 30 minutes. I'm almost done at the gym. And I literally called him in my truck, and we're just chatting for about, it was about 30, 45 minutes. And never met the guy before, never talked to him. This first time. And just by and he's like, the reason why I reached out to you is I looked at your agency site. It's very professional. And I'm not one to say, hey, go out and get your agency site, get it built, whatever. But it gives something for people to go to and see the services that you do. So if you don't have your agency site up, get it up. Really easy to do on Snaps too, because I think there's already a template there. Mine was built before Snaps, but last year. But ultimately, it gives a place to people to go to and see what you do, and they're going to reach out. And he literally just messaged me because of the look of my website. We just closed the deal.
I think that's so important, right? That like having things like a branded email, I think, is another thing that's important, right? Like you've got AMJ Digital, and so having that branded email, the website's obviously the next step there. So if you're new to this business, that's absolutely one of those things I would do like in your first week. We have a friend, Josh Osborne, who has a training program that he makes it almost a requirement for his students coming in, like, hey, if you're going to start this digital agency, you're going to start serving business owners. And we talk about this all the time too in lead generation. Like if you're doing lead generation for other people, you're doing paid ads for other businesses, like how much are you investing into your own ads, into your own web design development, learning the skills, showcasing your work, right? You and I are both moving to some new homes. We both have the kind of like dirt lot, like you got to do all the pool and all that stuff. And we're going with the same pool guy, and you guys got to all stay away. Sorry, we already got him locked down as a client. He's gonna be one of our clients. But outside of his skill in communicating with us, because I did find that Wes was probably one of the best in terms of answering phone calls, responding promptly. But I mean, I got to see his work. I could go to his Instagram page and I could go to his website, which honestly, his website needs a little work. His Instagram page is awesome, but it's like I got to see the final product that he was able to produce, and very much the same. I think most of the business owners that y'all are talking to, that we're all talking to, they know they need to do marketing. Yeah. And even if they're like, oh, like I get everything word of mouth, they still know that Facebook is a thing. They know, oh, I should probably be doing this, but they don't necessarily know how or what that even means. And so for you to visually be able to show them, like, and we're going to get into that a little bit later today and in next week's workshop, into, okay, how do you now paint that picture for this client? But the first step is just getting into conversation, which is so much of the battle. I think I wrote this down before, that, you know, you always want to be talking about what's new. I don't know. Everyone asks the same question, right? Oh, what's new? Or like, how's it going? What, you know, and, or how you been? And what the two, or what's up? What's up? And like, I think the two most common responses to those questions are either like, oh, not much, or oh, I'm so busy. And like, I think honestly, those are like wasted opportunities. And it doesn't matter. Like Ryan said, you don't need to look at every conversation like a sales pitch. That's not what this is about. But it's about sharing what is new. And whether you're brand new to this kind of agency digital marketing type of a business and building sites on Snaps, maybe you're a small business owner who's using Snaps for your small business, or you've been around the block for a long time. You've been doing this for a long time. It's new to the person that you're talking to. So it could be at a family gathering. It could be, you know, the first time that the mask mandate is released, and now all of a sudden you can be out in the open, like talking to people, you know, face to face, like whatever it is. But they ask what's new. It's very simple. You just, oh yeah, you know, super exciting. You know, I've had this business and we just added on a whole new bunch of services in web design and web development. So we're helping small businesses, you know, build better websites that help them get more leads. It could be as simple as that. You don't have to go into this long thing. Oh, you know, Snaps, technical schema, you know, custom code, all that. It's just like, you know, what, you know, the other person that you're talking to, you know, probably cares a little bit, but not that much to get into the weeds about it. But if you just let them know that, I can't tell you how many times I've brought something like that up, or even when I was in the agency days and I was like, oh yeah, you know, we help people get leads online, usually through like Facebook ads or something like that. I would say at least, because you get asked that question a lot, I would say at least 10 to 20% of the time, the other person would go like, oh my gosh, I totally need that. Or, oh my gosh, I know someone who needs that. Let me put you in touch. And depending upon, you know, whether it's a good fit, like you don't land all of those deals, but just the mere fact of you talking about it and always bringing it up, you're not like asking them for the deal. They ask you what's new, you share it. And now all of a sudden this starts to get kind of planted everywhere. And I also tell you how many times I've been in conversation then with friends, or kind of like, you know, friends of friends, kind of acquaintances. We know each other, you know, that kind of group where it's like, oh, you know each other, but you're maybe not super close. And then you'll meet up and it's like, oh, hey, I heard, you know, you have this whole new business thing that you're doing. Like, that's super exciting. I'm, you know, excited for you guys. And then you get to talk about it again. So making sure that you're just kind of always aware and talking about what's new, and that you know, we talk about this so much, this idea of scripting and having your answers before you even get started, to where when you have your buddy who you're cool with, who's like, hey, I've got this job that I can't do. Can you take it? Like, you're already kind of implanted in his mind that you were the person who did that deal, right?
Well, I want to riff on that real quick. Like, being like, what's new? You guys need to use this whole Snaps model now as the new thing, right? Cool. Yes, you could build on WordPress, whatever. You could still really customize these Snaps things. Everything that that Gabe and the development team that are putting in the Snaps, like the schema and talking about schema and all the support. And I literally, and this is what I was talking about with this guy today. I was like, hey, because he brought up, he's like, what would you build on? I was like, I build on WordPress, but you know, I actually, what I said was actually me and a few buddies, we developed an online, like a web development platform, kind of like you've heard Wix and Weebly and all this, because he knows those. And it's going to be actually more comparable to WordPress, and rather than like another platform like Shopify or whatever, right? Those drag and drops. You are differentiating yourself from any other business owner out there, any other agency owner, as this new thing. And people, that's what people want, is new always. And I just played the part. I fibbed a little bit, but we all know each other, right? Snap's team, hey, he's a buddy of mine, and yeah, we developed it. We're all here together. So, no, but he loved it, and he's like, "You do what you want. You know what you're doing. Let's just do it." And he's also going to be a monthly SEO deal too. So, don't be afraid to differentiate yourself from the people out there that are already doing on WordPress and the normal things, as well as this new thing, Snaps, because I honestly have never seen anything like this. So it's pretty epic what you're doing, bro.
Oh, thanks, dude. Yeah, I know it's been fun for sure. I mean, I think the idea was to create a better set of tools for digital marketers and small business, and just like Wes is there designing the pool and the yard and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm not gonna ask him what trencher he uses to dig the hole in my backyard. I'm not gonna ask him what sort of cement mix he uses or doesn't use. I might ask some questions like, hey, like, or what sort of chemicals are in there, but I'm gonna like leave it to him. He's the professional to pick the tools. And I think a lot of you that are online watching this too, especially, I see this a lot more for new people, either as entrepreneurs who are kind of starting to work with small business and do projects for them. And you're so excited to get the job, you'll kind of like do anything, you'll deal with any sort of questions, and you're reacting to like whatever that business owner is sending your way. Or salespeople, like new salespeople who are not used to selling high ticket services like high ticket websites and some of these bigger lead gen campaigns and things. And what'll happen is they'll get into this reactive mode where they'll make what they think was their pitch. Hey, I want to make you a website. You're like, here's what your website looks like. Here's what it could look like. And then all of a sudden they start getting peppered with questions. And really, that a lot of times is a time that you need to kind of like take control of that conversation with that business owner. Like, if a business owner comes to me, is like, oh, I all my stuff has been built on WordPress up until date, or there's some, my site's on Weebly or whatever. That's, I know, can you build it in that? I'm never going to let the client dictate the tools or services I use. Obviously, as the co-founder of Snaps, I'm always going to use Snaps because I know that's going to be the best tool for them. And for a lot of different reasons, right? But and being able to know what those benefits are, that you could explain that to the client. But honestly, a lot of times, like, that could or shouldn't even come up a lot. When it comes to websites specifically, at least what I found, because I've sold a lot of websites in my day, most business owners, especially if they've been through a website project before, they usually have some horror stories. They're like, I never want to go through that again. That was way gnarlier process than I thought. On the front end, it was like, oh yeah, there's pretty pictures. I was going to get this like beautiful new site. It was going to be an easy process. And it rarely goes that way, because it's like, oh, once we had the design down, which that was hard enough to figure out, now I got to come up with all this content. Oh, now I got to go hire a developer. Like, why is this button broken? I just want this one thing fixed on my site, and I can't get a hold of somebody to fix it for me. Like, those kinds of things, which again is one of the reasons why we built Snaps. The idea behind Snaps is the simplicity of a lot of these drag and drop builders, but the power of something like custom code or WordPress, where you're able to do a lot. So there's some flexibility there, I think, for the business owner, where you, as the agency owner, you can get this site up really quickly. It looks amazing. It's going to function the way that they're going to want it to. And then it's also like flexible for them, right? Where like you could kind of continue to maintain or add to that site if you want. At the end of the day too, if they, want to move on and do something else with their business, they can kind of like take that site with them, and you're not worried about like, hey, which server is this thing installed on, and how do I get the backup files and all that jazz, right? I mean, that was a big thing when I used to sell email services. We would bring clients in under our email account because we had this mail server where we would send out, all their email newsletters to their, 50,000 or 100,000 subscribers, whatever. And because we had, 10, 20 accounts under this one, we got a much better package price. So we say, hey, you can come in under our instance and we'll manage all the email for you. We'll design it. We'll write them. We'll send them out. We'll schedule it. We'll do all the work. You still get a login. You still get to see everything that's going out. You get to see all the stats. And if for whatever reason you ever want to leave us, which I don't know why you would, but if you do, you can pick up and take your instance with you. You just won't get the same rate. You're going to have to pay the full rate, whatever it is at that time. But it gives them this kind of like, oh, like this process could be easy. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not like, people are afraid of like committing, right? They want to know that they're not going to be locked down. I mean, I hate it too. I hate being like locked down by a developer. It's why I love our dev team is the best on the planet because they're really good. I think one at pumping out new features and things for us quickly, but also in they're not working out of a sense of fear. They're working out of like, oh no, if the more value I bring to this, Gabriel and the rest of the Snaps team, we're going to have like more work for us and helping us kind of, I think, make sure that everything that they're building for us is not like, hey, every time I need a change, I got to go back to them. They're showing me how it's built so that the rest of the team can kind of play a part, which I think when you're building a website for a company, you need to show them how to make the most out of that website.
Yeah. And one other thing I want to add to that, because I saw someone say something about like, other money or adding money or whatever, especially with these Snap sites and you having full control of the website, is in managing it, hosting it, doing the maintenance, right? Being the professional, add hosting fee, $40-$50. It's not a huge amount of money, but when you add hosting, and so he's going to be doing hosting as well with me, and $40-$50 a month adds up, even though it's not a lot of money. But if you have 50 clients that are on your Snaps account times 50, I mean, do the math. It's just more money into your agency as well. So that's another thing to think about too, is having full control of the hosting rather than, and you could do that with anything else, but rather than, oh, hey, I already have my domain. I went and purchased my domain. I'm just going to host it here. Talk them out of that because their hosting there is going to be whatever, like try to make money. Say, this is what you're going to get. I'm going to manage it. I'm going to do these things. I'm going to update whatever that is. So just make sure that, again, you're the professional.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think there's a lot to that because if you look at kind of breaking up the work, you can also break up like how you're going to be pricing it. Again, we're going to get more very, very specific on like how to price some of these packages. I would love in a minute, Ryan, if you wouldn't mind kind of sharing how if you don't mind sharing the actual prices and kind of how you broke it down for these two clients. Cause I think the way you did it was really smart. And you're also setting yourself up for that second and third money with this client because you're going to be able to bring in value and do something that's going to help their business. They're going to see that and they're going to want to spend more money with you for more services.
For sure.
But I do think, building in some sort of recurring type of money, even from these fast money jobs where it's like, okay, there's the project-based stuff, which whenever I would sell an ad campaign in the past, it was the same kind of thing. If we're doing Facebook ads, as an example, we'd always need to build an ad bank. An ad bank was, a bunch of copy, maybe some still images and like designs. Maybe we do like a couple of video ads, maybe some motion graphics, right? So that was the ad bank. Like that always had to get built no matter what before we could run money. Mm-hmm. And I ascribed the value to that. Like, hey, that's going to take our designers and our copywriters X amount of hours to create that. So there's a value to that. Which that's kind of the same thing as a website. There's going to be work that's going to go in to write the copy, to do the design, to get the thing actually built. That's like a one-time type of a thing. Mm-hmm. But for us and our whole business model around the agency was all on media buying and advertising and lead gen because it was like, hey, we knew they were going to spend every single month on Facebook. And our goal was always, hey, I want to get all of their media budget. So if they're spending, $50,000 or $100,000 a month on advertising, maybe they're only spending 10. I want all of that. Now, obviously, we're not going to keep all that. We're going to spend that with Facebook or whatever, but we would take our percentage for managing that spend.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I'd be able to say, hey, maybe our minimum is, 15% or $1,500 a month, on like a $10,000 spend. And this ad bank, is a $1,500 one-time charge. Hey, I'll waive that $1,500 if you can commit to the next 3 months or the next 6 months with me on this other service. So it's another way you can skin some of these deals. If you don't need the quick cash and you already have some cash flow coming through your business and you're looking to get kind of some bigger clients that are more committed on the lead gen or media side. And also at the same time, even if you don't do that, if you have just the flat fee up front, like Ryan's doing, you can charge for that up front, give them a good deal, and then say, hey, you're going to want someone to take care of this for you. Now, Snaps is super easy, and I'm convinced you, Mr. Business Owner, can handle this on your own. I'll set you up with the login. You'll be able to log in, check everything out. But also, if you want me to continue to maintain this, I'll make sure that, our team is in there at least on a weekly basis. Yeah. Adding any sort of updates as Snaps rolls out updates. We just rolled out this FAQ schema with the accordion widget, which you can look at some of the past lives to see all about that. Maybe your team goes in and goes, hey, you know what? Like this is this new feature in Snaps. Why don't we go add it to that client site? And then, after it's up and on there, you can let them know. Like those little things that might take you 5-10 minutes. That business owner's never going to know what that is about and the benefit it's going to have to his business. But the fact that you know how to do it, you could easily tack on $50, $100, $150 a month just to maintain that site for that client. I know. You have to do that if you have a custom coded site. Like you have to have a web developer that's on call to make changes.
You would have to, yeah. Hey, wait, you bring that up. So Mick just asked Ryan, do you build the sites yourself with these website builds, and do you use a VA? So I hired a guy that does all my work. He is a VA. He's pretty much turned into a friend to me. We talk on a daily basis. So I hired him, and he's great. He's probably one of the best developers that I've come across when it comes to like my agency stuff and my lead gens. The guy has never even heard of Snaps. He went in. I said, these are where I want my lead gens built now. I want them all off here. He learned how to do the migration really quick. He migrated all my other sites, and then built. I'm building like 8 a month right now, so I'm on track for probably over 100 right now this year. I have been challenged to do more, so I guess I should probably do more. But so ultimately, to answer your question, he dug into Snaps. He trained himself. I taught him on a few things, but the guy's just wicked smart. So I would definitely look at bringing a developer on that you can ultimately on a contract basis. So, but it's really committed to you if you're ready to scale.
Which, speaking of that, Andrew has kind of a follow-up question on how you pay your VA. Do you pay him like per site? Is it an hourly? Does he do other stuff for you?
Yeah, so I build him per site. He does. It's $150 per. No, it's way more than that. Anyway, I would have to ask him because he does ultimately groups of 8 to 10. So I forget how much I pay him. So, but I bill him per site is what it is. Yeah,
no, killer, love it. And your VA, he kind of like trained himself up. You probably helped him a little bit, and now he's kind of like building all your stuff in there in your account. Tell me a little about how you price these deals, how you package them up, and kind of on the maintenance topic, like what your plan is for like continue follow up and servicing these sites for your clients.
Yeah, so he has a team that does all the maintenance as well. That will go in there each month and add anything to. So he knows how to do it. He's the one that hired the content writer. I just approved it. So he has a whole team that he has on salary too, but I just contract everything through him. So it's just one-to-one point of contact. So it's not, okay, I need to go get my content writer. I need to go get this person. But it works out really well that way. So then it's just a flat amount every time. Now, if it's a super custom site, where they want, 20, 30 pages or whatever, then yeah, it's going to be, a little bit more money, but he's just, the guy is smart. So a lot of these VAs, I've probably went through 5 or 6 VAs that I've got rid of, but when you find, and don't be afraid to fire them, right? Because you want someone that's going to be able to do it on their own. You say, hey, this is what I want. This is what I want this site to look like. Here's some ideas of it from other sites in the area. This is, go and do it. And he sends it to me. Hey, is this good? Yep, love it. Read through the content real quick. It's great. So don't be afraid to, you have to shuffle through VAs to find a good one. And that's just the name of the game. If you're afraid to do that, then do it yourself. But yeah, I mean, if you want to scale, don't be afraid to get rid of them.
Yeah. And just curious, like how long have you guys had your agency?
5.5 years, going on 6 years.
Okay, cool.
6 years and 2 months. Yeah.
So you spent a lot of time working with clients, obviously doing a lot of the work yourself. So how to, we talk about inspect what you expect. You know what to look for. You weren't brand new when you brought this guy on to help you kind of hit the hyper button. Because you do a lot of different things. You've got different deals in addition to your agency that you're working on. You manage a sales team. You do all sorts of stuff. So it sounded like it was more worth your time to like, okay, the actual technical build out, like I got that figured out. I need to hand that off to someone else. Someone else so I can move to some other activities that are going to have more impact, make more income for the business. Yeah.
Well, and two, I mean, bring up the multiple things is once people start seeing you, I'm also a director of marketing for another company that's not really competition of mine because they're going to be more like, I don't know, but you have that because you're the professional. And well, now you could go be the director of marketing. You're just managing that team,
right?
That's going on there too. So, and then that gives me another opportunity to just bring more into Snaps and say, hey, this is where we're going to go. Snaps is literally, it's going to be your guys' best friend. If it's this good right now, gosh, sky's the limit. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah, there's a lot coming. Which Eric asked, she says, yeah, if they want their site hosted somewhere else other than Snaps, does that mean we have to build the site on the same platform as they're hosting? Which, yeah, Erica, I guess that would kind of go back to that question of why are you letting the client or prospect kind of dictate the tools that you're using? Honestly, if you've got specific context as to how that came up in conversation, I would love to hear that, because most business owners probably don't care unless they point blank ask you like, hey, what would this be built on? Honestly, I just wouldn't even bring it up. I would let them know some of the features that I've got that I build into some of my websites. Like, hey, I've got this really cool thing called schema. You don't need to know what it's about. All that it really means is that the way that we build our websites talks really well to Google. So Google knows exactly the kind of website that it is. So that when somebody asks, how much does a pool cost in Las Vegas, Nevada, your answer shows up and you can scoop up some of that traffic. And our websites do that for you. So I never had to say anything about Snaps in that, but it's more about like the benefits to that end business owner, the end consumer. So but I mean, obviously, if they want it hosted somewhere else, that's part of any drag and drop website builder. Deal, you would have either kind of like a fully hosted, like our managed hosting service like Snaps, or a self-hosted service where you're doing custom development, in which case you usually need a custom developer. You need a server. The hosting might be a little cheaper, but you're going to pay more than that in the long run with all the other maintenance and developers and updates and all that kind of stuff, not to mention the security concerns. So, I would really encourage your business owners like, hey, we've got this solution for you. It's super portable. It means, like I said before, you can take it with you if you want. If we ever part ways, I know you're not going to want to because I'm going to provide you amazing service, but it's also in an enclosed, fully managed, fully hosted system. So it's a lot more secure in that respect. Whereas it's not this open platform like something like a WordPress that when we were on WordPress, we got hacked a number of different times. It's not to say that you're going to get hacked if you're on WordPress. Like sites can get hacked no matter what platform you're on. But it's just, when you have, especially if you're using a lot of different plugins, you're using all this code from different people all over the place that you don't know where it's coming from. And it may be kind of like somewhat vetted, but not fully vetted. Whereas the only stuff that gets into Snaps is what we let into Snaps internally. And so obviously we have one motivation, and that is to provide as much value to you who are using the platform as possible, and to keep you sticking around using Snaps for as long as possible. And the only way we're going to be able to do that, obviously being competitive with our prices, but also pumping features and things into the platform, helping you save money on other tools. There's going to be some stuff coming out probably next week. One of our partners is showing me, it has to do with like a kind of like a telephone system, like chat widget that you could put on your site. That is, I'm not going to tell you how you're going to be able to get it, but you guys are going to be shocked at how easy it's going to be to get that. It's a paid service that's otherwise costs about $100 a month, that Snaps users are going to be able to get for free once they hit a certain mark. So we're going to share some of those things. So you're always going to have those kind of like features and tools kind of coming your way. So Erica, I would, again, this is probably just one of those things where every time you make a new pitch, you're going to learn things from it. And I would always do like what do they call it? A postmortem, like after the fact. So after you're done with that sales conversation, really take the time to look back on how it went, whether it went good or not good, or like you got the deal, but it was kind of a little rough. Like, okay, why did she ask me that question? Why did he say rebuttal this? How did we even get down this particular road? Because that's a lot of times you can cut a lot of this off at the pass. You're going to get so much better. It's like the movie Groundhog Day. You remember that movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray? Did you ever watch that?
It's so good.
So it's like when he finally realized that he was repeating the same day over and over and over, what did he do? He got like 3 or 4 steps into the day, and something bad happened, and he was like, oh, tomorrow I'm not going to let that happen to me.
Yep.
And so he was able to miss that piece. And by the end of the day, he had it like totally perfect, like where he had just everything totally dialed, and like had because he had lived that day so many different times. It's the same thing with your sales conversations. So if you get a question like that, you should think, okay, why did I get that question? What did I say to trigger that in the first place? I'm not going to do that next time. I'm going to go this other route. Or even better, I'm going to be preventative, and I'm going to talk about this thing that's going to beat the objection before I even get the objection.
I saw, you actually bring up a good point. It's word vomiting, right? I saw this, what was it? It was like a quote, whatever, is that you pretty much all what it was about is you get so excited about something, like talking to a business owner, and then you just word vomit, right? Word vomit, where you're like giving out way too much information. Just listen. Like when you're talking to clients about this, listen to what they want, say, and then put it, especially if you get like nervous when you're talking, it's going to make a huge difference, especially in your guys' closing rate too. Now we're talking about like sales and stuff, but you guys will be able to definitely close more deals if you're not talking so much sometimes if you get nervous.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes fewer words, most of the times saying fewer words is going to be better. Yeah. Ask more questions than you're saying, or talking. The more questions. In fact, we used to have a conference call service that we use to do all of our sales calls, and it would tell you, would get an email summary after, and it would say, oh, this 949 number talked 26 minutes. Like Gabriel talked 26 minutes. The client talked 12 minutes. And I was always like, dang it. I was trying to make it so that their talk time was more than mine. If I did that, I knew it was a good conversation. Yeah. All right. Max asks, hey, if I have an SEO client that has agreed to pay for hosting after I migrate them to Snaps, how would I go about having them pay for just their web hosting? Is there a way to put their credit card on file? Here, Max, there's a bunch of different ways that you could do this. And there's the optimal way that I would suggest, and assuming Ryan, I would love your opinion on this, but probably would suggest as well. As long as they are my client, I would incur that cost on my card, and I would pass it along to the client. Because then also you can and should mark it up, because there's things that you can be doing just looking at that that client site. You're coming onto these lives every week. Your client probably is not. You're finding out about the new updates and things. Your client probably is not. Yeah. And so you should charge for that, even if it's not much. Even if you go a whole month and you don't make a single change to his website, the fact that you're learning about the platform, and if something were to come up, you're at the ready, there's legitimate value to that.
Yeah.
So I would say, honestly, even just for like a base price, like, hey, I'm going to, I'm going to build this site for you. I'm going to host it. It's, the hosting's $29 a month. Don't worry. I'll send it. I'll add it to you every month. Right. That's, like $10 a month more than like the most expensive plan that we've got. So you're not losing money. Now you're starting to make a little bit more. That can help cover another site. Right.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of, but like, hey, if you wanted us to, add content to your site on a regular basis, if you wanted us to do these other services, if you wanted us to be available for, like any sort of edits and changes on call, maybe that goes up to $97 a month or $150 a month or whatever, depending upon, the size of the business and kind of what their business needs are, like what their overall marketing budget is, right? Now you can start to pitch it like, hey, I'm going to be your outsourced webmaster, or your kind of like partner web dev team, right? So the way I would handle it, Max, is I would leave that under my Snaps plan, which I'm going to get a better deal anyway, because I've got all these client sites, I've got my own assets, and I'm getting a cheaper deal with Snaps by paying in bulk and getting some of these bigger packages, especially once you get up to the like Agency Lite and Agency Pro packages. And then I'm going to invoice the client, at full retail for that, or maybe even with a little bit of margin for that at a bare minimum. How about you, Ryan?
Another thing you do with the hosting too is to make it sound like they're getting a discount, and I'm going to do it with this guy. Is ultimately their hosting is going to be $50 a month, or if they pay in full for the year, then it's $35 or $40 and what it comes down to, right? So then to them they're getting a huge discount, which they are, but at the end of the day, you're helping them. Like you're saying, which route do you want to go? Just like on any of these website builders, same thing with Snaps, and what you guys are implementing too is the bigger the package, the less it is, right? So bigger package. If that's where you want your business to be and why you're in this business anyways, and scale, same thing with these companies. It's no different. So another way you can do it, Max.
No, I love it. In fact, one of the things I'm gonna be sharing, I'll be sharing next week, is going to be exactly on this idea in regards to pricing and how do you remove all objections for clients, especially if there's, it's a site. It's like, okay, it's kind of, their site's okay. They don't really feel like a super big need. They feel like, I probably should update it, but I don't know if I really want to pay to update it. You can kind of flip the script on them a little bit and say, look, you're going to have to pay for hosting regardless. Here's what hosting with me costs. If it, like full white glove service hosting maybe is like, $97 a month, $150 a month, whatever, something in that regards. And they're going to get a little bit extra every single month too, right? Maybe they get a blog post, or they get, some, again, we're on call to make changes, whatever that is. And it could be dirt cheap, and say, hey, look, this website would cost you $1,500 for me to do this like 3-page site for you, or this 4-page site. It's going to look awesome. Normally it would cost $1,500. Why don't we, instead of me charging you $1,500 up front, why don't we do, $200 a month for, the next 8 months? That'll include the hosting. Or, hey, even if you wanted to stretch it out super far, you could say, hey, like, you know what? I'm just going to charge you the hosting service, the $97 a month. And that's going to go towards the cost of, we agree, the price of the website deal is $1,500. Your hosting bill is going to go towards that $1,500 until it's paid off. And then we'll just flip over to the hosting. And so it's like, okay, you're not getting a ton of money up front, but like how much time is it really going to take you to build one of these sites? Now you're starting to build up some residuals where you have a check coming in every single month. You add one new web build client a week. Well, shoot, by the end of the year, that's what 52 times 97 a month. I don't know what that number is. If someone could do the math for me in the comments, hey, I'll take that money. And now I know it's coming in every single month. And I've got all these awesome, web clients who, if I'm on the 50 pack, I think, the cost per site is like $10, $11. And, I'm making $80 a month on each one of those on that deal. That's how I would do it, Max.
Yeah. It's awesome. It adds up for sure.
It does. Let's see here if we got some more questions. And then for those of you that are on next week, we're going to get, I think we're probably, because we've got a hard stop here in 13 minutes. Next week, we'll get into a lot more of the technical on how to set all this up. So I know you guys are excited for that. So if you've got questions that you want us to cover next week on the technical too, on like, hey, how do you find those clients? How do you preview it? Which I might show you a little trick on that before we finish this live today, in terms of like finding clients, because they're right beneath our noses. But we're going to get into this more next week too. Let's see, we already answered that one. Chris says, yeah, telephone system chat widget sounds awesome. Yes, it is, Chris. It's going to be sweet. You're going to love it. All right. Yeah, and Devin was asking, getting asked about that as well too. And Mick, yeah, can't you just bill them in addition to offering monthly services? Absolutely. And that's the way I would do it. Now, again, at the end of the day, if for some reason you really wanted, or the client really wanted it to be on their own card, yes, they could set up their own free Snaps account. Currently, for the time being, we don't have a single site license available, because Snaps is more built for the agency owner, the entrepreneur, someone who's going to have multiple sites, multiple assets published. But if that's a deal breaker for your client, and they're really only going to have the one site, and it's a client site, and they want it to be in their card, just reach out to our support team, and we'll take care of you. We'll make sure to get it on their card in their own billing. So that is an option, but again, it's probably not. It's not the route I would go first if I were you. I'm going to start writing the questions down. I haven't been doing that. Yeah, Andrew, go. Come with some questions, write them down, and we will answer them. Okay. Chris, good idea to play out the conversation pitch. Yeah, I think role playing is really important, and also even like going in, just knowing and visualizing like, hey, how do I want this conversation to go? Where do I want it to end? Just like we do before we come on these lives, I spend at least a couple hours going, okay, what are we going to be talking about here today? What are some of the questions I anticipate you guys asking? I'm coming prepared to this. You should come just as prepared to your sales calls. The best sales technique I learned was stop talking. Yeah, absolutely. I've talked
right. I was guilty of it for a long time, so I learned real quick.
So funny. All right, let's see. Yeah, I like that idea of offering a monthly website maintenance, hosting, service, retainer. If there's ever an issue, your guy, gal to get exactly. They just want to know that they've got a pro in their corner that knows what they're doing. Yeah. And there's huge.
And the guy, that's what the guy said today. He's like, I don't know you, I've never met you. I can, I wish I would have recorded the call, but just the way you sound professional. You sound honest. Like you have to be direct with them, and don't go out and ultimately saying, oh, I can make you the best website ever, or I can get you ranked to the first page of Google. Even though those are things we do, don't talk about it, because that's what every other agency is talking about, right? So
yeah, exactly. Julie asks, does the client ever own the website because they can just log in and see the price of hosting? Sorry if this is a stupid question. No, not a stupid question at all, Julie. Remember, by paying for hosting, they're not just paying for hosting. If they're just paying for hosting, they could go to Snaps. You could hit up support, and we could get them set up on their single site license, which we're kind of debating whether we open that up or not. If we do, it's going to be at a higher price anyway, because the cost to us to support a user that just has one site is very expensive compared to for the kind of platform that we're building and the tools that we're putting in. We get a lot of questions from every single user that comes onto the platform, and we are committed to answering all of them and having that kind of white glove service. So it's just doesn't make as much sense for us, which is why we've kind of gone this route. But yeah, absolutely. If you're building the site for them, that's between you and them in terms of how you set up that contract. Most people are going to want to know that they own the site. They know they can leave, but at the same time, they don't want to have to manage it or deal with it. They're like, hey, if you can just make it work for me, so I can go, right?
Well, and when you're writing out, because I'm writing out the proposal and everything for a few other things, but when you're writing it out and you're putting hosting in there, hosting includes weekly maintenance, content update, blog. I mean, that's going to be more SEO, but like, you know what I'm saying, is like, what does that include? I mean, adding whatever, right? The new widgets and, you know, all the other things that are coming, because we are evolving. And that's another word. This is literally another word that word tracking. Use word tracking to make you different. We are evolving. We have created this new platform, right? New, evolving. And the guy, I didn't say anything different than I ever would. And he was astounded. And so, and then he brought up a buddy of his that just got his website done. And then now the link goes to like a dirty site, and it's like somehow rerouted. And the guy's like, what's going on? Doesn't know. But ultimately, so he's like, once yours is done, I'm going to refer my buddy to you. So again, I built this relationship from a guy I don't know, and then I'm going to kill it on a site, and I'm going to get more business from him. So
love it. Yeah. That's awesome. And some people did the math for us. So
5,040
sites at times $97. It's $5,000 a month recurring. That's not bad for, and I think that more than pays for the most expensive package in Snaps, which is like not even $1,000. So I guess divided by 5. So what, you only need like 10 of those clients to be able to afford the Century Club. So if you're one who's looking to build a bunch of lead gen assets that you own, that you're covering the cost of completely, you know, you get a handful of these web clients, their hosting could cover that cost for you.
Yeah.
Which is huge. Chuck, you got some questions about some technical stuff. How do we edit the margins, other CSS elements? So we can, I'll connect with you. We'll get those questions answered for you. I know you're in one of the Facebook groups for the training group. So you can go ahead and post those questions there into the Facebook group, and we'll get them answered for you in there, just since we're a little tight on time and trying to stay on task with this particular topic tonight, but we'll get those questions answered for you. Let's see, we got just a couple more, and then we'll head out here. How do you know you get the clients this way without any social proof? That's a great question. And by the way, when it shows this like Facebook user, like so, just means you haven't authorized StreamYard. So if you're joining us from Facebook, please go to streamyard.com/Facebook, authorize StreamYard so we can see your questions. That way, in case we need to follow up afterward, we know who you are, and we can get more easily connected with you. But this person says, how do you get new clients without any social proof? I just joined a private Facebook group for building websites, but one of the rules is having a portfolio to show, but I don't have any websites or clients. So I'll start with a couple of things, and then Ryan, curious your thoughts on this. First off, I would go where your clients are. And your clients are probably not in a building websites Facebook group. Your clients are probably in a dad's group, which is where you found one of your clients. Yeah. I was going to show you guys, and I'll show you here in just a sec, one of the groups that, in fact, I'm just going to pull it up right now. Let me share my screen. We're going to go, which tab here? It is this one. Okay, so I think you guys can see my screen here, yeah? Can you see my screen, Ryan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is one you were telling about earlier.
Yep. Yeah. So this is just a little neighborhood community group, 4,700 members that I'm a member of. And I was just kind of scrolling through the posts today, and there's all these kinds of like, hey, there's a fundraiser. A lot of people are looking for recommendations like, hey, are we allowed to install shades? And there was one here. This one was interesting. Looking for a monthly yard maintenance referral for Inspirata. Anyone they like to use? So, if I'm looking for local businesses, I want to know I'm finding a business that's doing good work, right? That like is going to be a good partner. And so this guy is CP Landscaping. So, copy his name, do a quick little Google search for CP Landscaping, which we can get in that one. I'll show you that one in a bit because I was able to find his stuff. I scrolled down a little further, and let me go down a little bit. There was another one that I thought was great, where it was someone looking for swim classes. So same thing. Hey, can anyone recommend swim classes? I hadn't even thought of like the swim instructor niche, but like, yeah, of course, that'd be a great niche. And this gal Jennifer says, hey, I teach private one-on-one swim classes. You can check out my Silver State Stroke School or PM me. So then I went to Jennifer's page. Was it this one? No, sorry, I didn't go to her page. It went to, I think I found it here. That's right, I Google searched it because I was trying to understand. I went do this on Google, and then I just put in swim instructor. And I found, yeah, this is her Facebook page, and then this is her website, right? So able to like come right in here and like, oh, great, awesome. Like this girl, Jessica, has this site. She's already got a bunch of content on here. And it was funny too, because check it. Powered by Weebly, womp womp. So this is perfect. This is when we can move over to Snaps and show her all the benefits of like what we can do for her as a business. I mean, already like right off the bat, I can see there's some things that can be done on her site. There's no way to contact her easily. I mean, there's this contact button over here, but I got to click on this and I got to fill out a form. Like if I just want to call or text her, like she's not making that easy for me. This is the homepage. There is this really kind of like compelling image here, right? Like if you're a parent, you're like, shoot, yeah, I want to make sure my kids are safe. So, but hey, like here's a couple people and what I would do, honestly, like an incredible kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like intro or like contact. If I've never talked to this gal Jessica before, be like, hey Jessica, I saw you in the Inspirata Facebook group. Sounds like you have some raving reviews and fans. I'm a parent. I want to. A couple of my kids know how to swim. A couple of them don't. Do you ever take referrals? Like are you still do you take referrals? Or are you all booked up for the summer? And then you can get into a conversation that way. She's like, oh no, yeah, I'm always taking referrals. Oh, awesome, yeah. Here's what I do, and you can kind of get into your pitch from there. And next week, what we'll do is we'll show you how to come prepared to a conversation like that, where you can actually mock up a site for a guy like Jessica and be like, hey, here's something, here's just an example of what I could do for you. We didn't spend a ton of time on it, but I just wanted to show you because I'm sure as a small business owner, you get hit up all the time by Yelp and Home Advisor and all these different places about wanting to do work for you. I live here in this community. I care about this community, and I would love to work together. Something like that.
Yeah. You bring that up too, the license to pitch, right? I mean, you're trying to get swimming. So I'm in Vegas. We're in Vegas, and obviously concierge services are very, very high demand here. Now that everything's starting to open up too, I met a guy that he ultimately can get you into any club and at discounts. And I went to the new circuit. It only cost me $400 for minimum instead of $1,200. So I was like, I'm looking at these numbers. And so I asked him, I was like, how do you get paid? Like what? And so they get paid on percentages of whatever that is. And the difference, the markup is so much. And I'm thinking $1,200, if he gets this and I just get a little sliver of that, there's people coming to Vegas all the time, or like big events, like they're holding every here.
They're literally putting one together right on the other side of the screen right now.
But yeah, I mean, it could be anything. And so always use that. And that's why you build relationships. I stayed at the Circa, got the $400 min from the guy. He hooked up dinner at Barry's, which if you're in Vegas, stay at the Circa, 21 over. Barry's is the best steakhouse that I've ever been to. But anyways, so he hooked that up. So I was like, do you ever take referrals? Are you like, what I do? We've talked about that. Are you willing to, if I were to send you some stuff? I mean, he rents out private yachts in Miami. I'm like, okay, this could be a moneymaker. So you just always building that rapport, and don't be afraid. You have a skill set. We all learned it in the same, a couple different groups here, but ultimately, build that rapport, build a friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Build some rapport, add some value like Tia did here and showing someone how to get that little link off their site. We do have to call it here. There's an event that's going on the property today too. So we got to call it. There's a couple questions I just want to rapid fire through here. Jacob or Jobine says, hey, can Snaps deploy text messages as a lead to business owners? That will be coming very soon. Right now, with the contact form, you can set an email notification. If you're familiar with Zapier, you could have that trigger a text message. So yes, you could do that right now. We're making it even easier in the coming weeks. Someone else asked, what types of services could we list under monthly maintenance for web design packages? What would you list in there, Ryan?
Wait, type of services, web design packages, SEO?
Yeah, for that like monthly hosting kind of fee, that maintenance fee that you're talking about, like what would that cover?
Yeah, so it could be any like widget updates, right? Or again, Snaps is new.
Good example of that. Sorry, go ahead. I'd say a good example of that. So like the FAQ schema that we just came out with was built on the accordion widget. Now, about that. Yeah, it's freaking awesome. People are using it. They're loving it. Widgets are different than like plugins with WordPress. So with WordPress, you've got these plugins. You got to constantly be updating the plugins. With Snaps, there is no updating the widget because we do all the updating behind the scenes for you. So you don't have to worry about that. But you're always getting those most up to date. If we make a major change to how a widget functions, like we did with the accordion widget, to now there's a toggle where you can enable FAQ schema, you would log in to Snaps, in which right now, if you have a site that has an old accordion widget on there, you'll see this, hey, do you want to update this widget? You literally click a button, it's done. And then you could enable schema, but there might be some things that you want to do for that business owner to, now there's a new widget, we want to add this in. Hey, Snaps just came out with this new chat feature that I can add to my site. And because I'm a premium Snaps subscriber, I get it for free. I can actually show them the dollar value that anybody that's doing, 1, 2, 5 sites, whatever, would have to pay for this thing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put that on their site for free, which if they just have one site, they're not gonna get that perk.
Yeah.
But because they're doing it for me, they are gonna get these premium widgets. So that's gonna be a big piece that's gonna come out here, where it's probably, I'm trying to drop the bars as low as possible. It's probably 25 sites, it might be 10, we'll see, where you get access to these kind of premium widgets. So advanced features, ongoing maintenance, and then I would probably add something into I would put a limit on it, but like revision requests where it's like, hey, if you need something edited on the site, like, hey, like up to 3 edits to your site a month or whatever is included in this. If we go beyond that, then we go into our hourly rate or whatever that is.
Another thing you could throw in too to add a little bit more money on those is even like, hey, this hosting is also going to include managing your Facebook page, right? Every month. Once a week, that's going to be every Wednesday. We'll say something about landscaping, whatever. Because they're going to also, a lead is a lead, right? They're going to also start getting leads through their Facebook pages as well. And ultimately, that's just going to build more value in what you do too. So
100%. Yeah. No, it's, the more that you can serve your clients, the better. And you have to find a way that you can serve and have impact, but also know and understand the value that you have. Just because it costs you a certain dollar amount and you're charging a different dollar amount for that thing, there's not. In fact, we met with some business owners earlier today. We were talking all about distribution, right? And it was like, hey, I get this product for cost at $2, and then I sell it to like a distributor, and they might buy it. They might sell it for $4 to $5 to the end retailer, and then that retailer is selling it for $20 to $30, right? So there's markup all along the way, and at first you think like, oh shoot, like, why doesn't the consumer just get to buy it at $2? It's like, well, you have to get it from the factory to all these different places, and there's a lot of infrastructure in there, and everyone kind of gets their cut along the way. It's also why certain businesses like a Warby's or a Warby Parker, or which I wear, or Away suitcases, that go direct to consumer. There's still some people in the middle there, but like you're able to shave some cost out. So there's legitimate value that you're bringing to that thing that maybe you paid $12 a month for. You're coming to these trains, like I said. So lean into that, know your value, and then make sure to join us next week. So next week, we're going to get into all the technical on how do you find some of these clients. I'm going to show you some more tools on how do you find clients to do some of these web builds for. How do you then very quickly kind of mock up a site for them to share with them? And what do you do when you kind of run into some of the edges where it's like, oh, it's maybe not working kind of exactly as I'd hope, or there's, shoot, they don't have the images that I would need to be able to mock this site up, or there's some things that you can do to kind of like quickly at least mock up a homepage in a preview that you can share with them. So we're going to go through some of that technical workflow, and then we're going to get really specific into pricing. And I'm going to have some swipe files for you guys too, to where you're going to have a presentation deck that you're going to be able to use as a template when you're going out there and meeting with prospects and reaching out to business owners. Also some scripts and some pricing sheets that you'll be able to use and kind of tweak to your liking. So hopefully you're here with us next week. If you have any questions about kind of this whole idea and doing website projects and web builds and design type projects with Snaps, go ahead and pop them in the comments here. Even if you're watching the replay, I'm going to scrub through this thread personally in preparation for next week. And yeah, we will see you next Wednesday. Ryan, thank you for joining us. And
thanks for having me. Nice meeting you.
Those 2 deals. Congrats.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
All right, you guys.
Bye.
Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Catch you later. Bye.